Hey everyone, it's Kyle with Tended Life, and today I'm going to kind of talk through what's going on here while we're a week out from our first butchering of our meat birds. These Rainbow Rangers are about 9 weeks old now. They'll be about 10 weeks at our butchering date. I would have liked to let them go another 2 weeks longer, but due to some family commitments and just visitors we have coming in to squeeze in before my wife gives birth, we're having to push that up a little early just so we can have a little help with Soul while we're down here butchering. This will be my first time doing any type of butchering or processing of any kind. I've never raised meat birds before or any animal for livestock purposes, and I'm not only really looking forward to this process, but I've been planning for this and thinking about this for years, kind of envisioning what the steps would be like through this whole raising process. And now that we're here at the end of our first cycle of it, it's really exciting. To prepare myself for this first session, I got Sow the Land's chicken processing guide that he has available online. That's a great resource. I'll have a link below if you guys want to check it out for your processing date. As I get more and more familiar with these birds, I do feel like I am reaching a point now where I'm ready for the processing date. I'm ready for all that entails and all that comes with it. I was a vegan for 5 years before starting to eat meat again, right before the birth of my first daughter, and this is definitely a big step away from that. Raising meat was really one of those things that we decided that we had to do if we were going to start eating meat again, being part of both the chicken's life and death and everything that brings with it. So I'm really excited to kind of fulfill this part of my goals here. It also feels like a large step in the right direction. One, from separating us from, large food companies like Tyson and stuff, where chickens just live in conditions that are inconceivable to me with how our birds are. And just finally having like a food product that we can really truly feel good about and we're confident with what we're buying. I definitely feel like a lot of those USDA food labels and a lot of the food labels out there for humaneness can be stretched a little bit, and I think that they're just like marketing ploys to kind of increase the cost of the meat that you're buying and increase the profit margins on the other end. So this is one of those ways that we can kind of avoid that and remove ourselves from that system that we're not fond of. My relationship with these meat birds is definitely very different than with my egg layers. We bought them with the knowledge that they were only going to be here for a set period of time, and then after that they would be in our freezer. And that doesn't mean that we gave them any less like love, attention, or like opportunities to be happy and healthy and have great space. I moved them probably much more than necessary. Gave them all the great pieces of paddock, even if it was harder to kind of move around fencing and things like that. And I do feel really good about where we are and how we raise these birds. And I think that's definitely the most important thing for me as this butchering date approaches. So these birds have eaten essentially nothing but grass, bugs, and then organic, non-GMO feed. I feel really good with the feed we've been giving them. They have fresh water daily, fresh grass daily. Their paddock moves about every 5 days because I underestimated how much space these tractors would take in the 164-foot netting. I thought it'd be an entire week so I could move them in line with our egg layers, but it just didn't work out like that. Now that I am a week out from processing, it's time to get all the supplies in order, kind of test out the things I got. We try to keep it pretty trim on our supply list by getting basically what we need. So sharp knives, tables, coolers, things like that. But we did spring for the defeatherer because we were unsure of how much time Julia was going to be able to spend with me butchering with our young daughter and her being pregnant. So yeah, we got a defeatherer so we can run the birds through there. That should speed up our process a good amount. I'd say that was like the biggest investment we made toward this, outside of obviously feed cost, infrastructure, things like that, to really make the process hopefully simpler and easier. Right now, I'm more or less unsure how long it's going to take us to do the full processing. We have 50 birds. This will be our first time. We have a friend coming to help, so I'm hoping that speeds things up a little bit. But I'm not expecting for it to be a really fast process. This being our first time, I'm not expecting it to be really smooth necessarily either. I do feel that we will enter a rhythm and kind of get to that place where it is like manageable and efficient enough. But I'm not really worried with that. I want to make sure that I focus on feeling the process, being there with the birds, and like being aware that the impact that my nutrition and meat has on me mentally, you know, taking its life. I've never taken an animal's life before, never hunted, like I said, never butchered. So this is going to be the opportunity for me to really begin to comprehend where my meat comes from. Throughout this raising process, every time that we've had to buy chicken from the store, I feel really resentful. And I'm really looking forward to having this meat for my family, to not only nourish them, but to help build the relationship that my daughter has with food, as I do it myself, and I'm figuring out these pieces. Hopefully, she's about 1.5 now. She'll never know a world where her meat is coming from the store, you know, when she's ready to start making decisions about where she wants to source her ingredients, how she wants to live, how she wants to grow. This will be her normal. You know, I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to raise my food, my meat, these chickens like this. I don't think I can ever go back. It feels so good and right to be with them from their early days to their last, tending to them, taking care of them, nourishing them, which will then be reciprocated into nourishing my family. If you believe in energy transfer from like dead organisms into yourself through food, these birds have lived like a very happy, fulfilled life, always on fresh grass, always getting whatever attention they need, always cared for. And just knowing that is what's been going into my body and my family's body is really relieving to me, and is something that's like really beautiful and that I appreciate and so thankful to these birds for. Thanks for joining me today on this short, brief check-in. Make sure you subscribe so that next week you can see our video on the full experience that I have, my first time butchering anything, specifically meat chickens.